Hey, everybody, welcome to Careers People Growth, your channel to learn about real careers, real people, and real growth. And today I'm doing something very, very special with my friends Mark and John from John's Crazy Socks. It's an incredible story from 2016, start a father-son duo, starting a company together to now fast forward. They've got 34 employees, of which 22 of them have some form of a disability like autism and Down syndrome. They have been able to donate over $800,000 in charity towards these causes. And on top of that, they've sold and sent across 89 countries 475,000 packages of socks. And today I'm honored to have you guys here because we are going to learn and crush the myths behind hiring someone with a disability. And I'm going to learn today from Mark and John how advantageous it has been for the business and all the great things you can do, along with what processes that Mark has put in place to bring on all of these amazing people. So guys, welcome to the show. I can't wait to learn about this.
Thank you so much. I really excited on your podcast.
We're excited to be here. We like sharing what we've been able to develop in our business.
No, you've done something absolutely exceptional. Let alone to be able to build a company to getting to a point of having 34 employees and manufacturing and selling 475,000 units. Not a lot of people could do it, and you managed to do it with 22 very, very special employees, which I really want to learn a little bit of that magic. So maybe share with me a little bit more about those employees that you have and what they do for you. And our goal today is to absolutely crush all myths behind it, and hopefully by the end of our conversation there's going to be a lot of entrepreneurs maybe reaching out to you, learning more, and starting to hire more amazing people like John.
Well, let's start with some basics here. If you got to know my partner John, you would find out he's a very nice guy, right?
Yes.
I am not. If we're going to hire you, it's because you're going to produce. We don't give jobs to anybody. We don't lower our standards.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we have found that hiring people with differing abilities is good business. It gives us a competitive advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I said before, we were talking before, all of us business owners, you're out there listening to this, you own a business. You want to hire the best possible people for a salary you can afford to pay. If you exclude a population, you can no longer say, I'm hiring the best possible people.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to draw as large a pool of potential people as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And Chris and I, his name has been in the news in the last couple of days. But I'll cite an example from American sports history. In 1947, up until 1947, to play professional baseball, you had to be white. And in 1947, the then Brooklyn Dodgers broke the color barrier when they signed Jackie Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
The next two teams to integrate were the Cleveland Indians and the then New York baseball giant. Guess what? They became the best teams in baseball. Now think about them as businesses. What they said was we were going to hire the best possible employees. And up until then, those businesses had excluded a whole category of people. And when they changed their mind, it gave them a competitive advantage. Well, apply that to people with different abilities. Here's a starting place. This is true in much of the U.S., and I believe it's true in large places in Canada. We have a growing labor shortage. We hear all the time from employers, I can't find enough good workers. In fact,
Every day.
I was a meeting with business leaders in Wisconsin a short time ago, and I said that, and when one of the people looked at me and said, good workers. I can't even find enough plain workers, and yet at the same time, in the United States, only 1 in 5 people with a disability is employed. It's awful.
Wow. 1 in 5 people with a disability are employed.
So you have this pool of people that are ready, willing, and able to work.
Yeah.
And you have employers that need employees.
Yeah.
Guess what? Why don't we put them together?
So tell me, so let's dive into it a little bit. What positions do you have in your company that someone else will have the same exact positions, but they hire, someone without a disability, and you hire someone with a disability? Tell me those positions and what do you have?
Yeah, let's talk concretely. So we're an e-commerce business. You could think about what we do in 2 big parts. There's the front end. It's running the website. It's doing the social media, the email. It's handling customer service. It's designing and sourcing our SOC. And then we do our own fulfillment. So anybody who sells online, you have to do fulfillment. Pick and pack warehouses. It's a growth industry.
Mm-hmm.
So we do our own. So I could talk on either side, but let me look at the warehouse. You got to hire pickers and packers. What do we call our pickers?
Stock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. Well,
One more time, sock what?
Sock wranglers.
Sock wranglers. Okay.
Well, employers, we hear this all the time. They have a shortage. They can't find enough workers for their warehouse.
Yes.
We have a surplus. We hire because we're willing to hire people with different abilities. And we could dig into, how we do the recruiting and the onboarding. But here's the issue. Once we have a potential candidate, we train them. But to get the job, they have to pass the sock wrangler test. Yeah. They have to pick 6 orders in 20 minutes or less, because that's our minimum.
Yeah.
If you pass that test, you get the job. And just notice a couple of things about this. There's nothing extraneous here. And that's a mistake that I think sometimes we make as an employer. Right? Think of it this way. If I want to start a basketball team, even at his late age, I probably want LeBron James on that team. Mm-hmm. I don't care what his SAT scores were. I don't care if he speaks French or can do geometry. I want to know, can he play hoops? And that's what we need to make sure we're doing when we think about a position. What really has to be done here? So for us, we'll train you, then show us you can do this job.
Okay.
At the same time, we're not lowering the standard.
Good.
You have to be able to perform. You get that job, and then you're on board. What are the results of this? Well, let's see. Let's look at the production we get. And almost all of the employees in our warehouse have a different ability.
Okay.
We do same-day shipping. We do better shipping than Amazon. We customize that shipping. So every package gets a thank you note from John.
Yes.
Gets candy.
Yes.
And on the packing slip, you see the picture and the name of the person who packed your order. So you're not just getting socks sent to you. You get a little dose of happiness.
Okay.
Our error rate is less than 0.2 of 1%. We will match what we do against anybody. And on the timing of getting things out, we do better shipping than Amazon. And Amazon, Jeff Bezos over in Amazon, he's not putting a thank you note and candy in those packages.
Absolutely.
Right? But it gets more than that, right? You got to see that the production is really high. Yeah. But this gives us a competitive advantage. Why? Because other places in this area, they can't find enough workers. What does that mean? Either their production falls off, or they're paying more people overtime, so their costs go up.
Yeah.
That's one thing. Our morale is high because of it. Productivity is good. Retention. And we still have people quitting. Almost 4 million people each month quit their jobs. Yeah. We have great retention. People don't leave. And it helps us recruit because people want to work at a place that does this.
Yes.
So it becomes good business to do it.
So tell me more. So you said your sock wranglers
Right.
are people that are with a disability that are doing the job. What other positions do you have?
We have graphic artists. We have
Really?
administrative people.
Yeah.
Because I don't
What
feel
what kind of administrative people doing what kind of tasks?
doing data entry, doing online research, handling some of our administrative processes.
Yeah.
We created a new position here, right? We were outsourcing cleaning our offices. And then we created a new position. We call it Captain Clean. That's filled by somebody who's on the autism spectrum. Guess what? If you want your office really clean, get somebody with autism. Boy, do they pay attention to detail.
And
And it's very simple.
you know, I'm glad you mentioned that. And I wanted what I'm going to do to the positions you went back. So you said for cleaning and like organizing autism, the people that you have data entry, what kind of a disability do they have?
They've had autism.
They
But
also have
we've had graphic artists with autism.
with autism.
And it's, again, we're not being nice people. You know, we're hiring people because they do the job well. And
How do you test someone like that? So you have someone with autism says they want to be a graphic designer for you. You mentioned to me, can you pick 6 packages, put 6 on?
Okay, so
What do you do for graphic design?
let's go through the whole process. And you're an expert in the recruiting business. I'll share what we do. First, we don't start looking to fill a job when we have an opening. You have to start in advance. So we share a lot about what it's like to work here. We do that on our social media. We're involved in the community, so people know about us. We host tours here and work groups. So we get people coming in from high schools, social service agencies, and other folks coming in, taking tours. We get work groups that come in. They get a little taste of what it's like to work. John gives the tours. John's given more than 4,000 people have come through on tours. And what that means is here's this large segment of folks that get to see what it's like to work here. So when we have an opening, we're now able to tap into those networks. And people see, they already know, and they're able to self-select. That's a job I can do. That's a place I want to work.
Yeah.
So that helps us. We have used some recruiting agencies in the past, but ZipRecruiter, Indeed, if you put a job there, you just get piles and piles of, what's the technical word, John? Crap.
Lots of garbage. Yeah.
It's people checking boxes. And so what we do, you get known. Then when we're thinking about an opening, we want to boil down what's essential for this job. Let's not add bells and whistles. Right? There's a situation, this is common in places. I want to hire an administrative person. I want them to have a 4-year degree. And it turns out 65% of the people in that job don't have a 4-year degree. So guess what? That's probably not a requirement. Make sure that you're really clear asking what needs to be done. I mean, I'll cite another example of this. The New York City Fire Department. Way back in the 1970s, the good men that run the New York City Fire Department said, we ought to hire some women. And now to get a job in the fire department in New York City, you have to take a written test. If you score high enough, you get invited to take the physical test. Women scored high enough, got invited to take the physical test. None of them passed. And the good men that ran the fire department said, you see, no woman is qualified. Until a judge looked at that and said, wait a second, your test has nothing to do with the job. Tailor a test that matches the job. And once they did that, they didn't lower their standards. But once they did that, they were able to hire plenty of women.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something we have to do as employers. Make sure that we're asking for things that are germane to the job and not extraneous.
Can you do this? And if you can, I'll pay you. That's it.
Right.
That's
And then
well, who
we-
cares?
we go through an extensive process depending on the job. So the sock wrangler job is relatively simple. You come in, we put you through a group interview. We want you to know about us. We want to make sure you can work on your own, that you can come and show up. But for other jobs, particularly that are working the front end, our process is we have very detailed and long job description. If you don't want to read through it, that's fine. But we want you to know all about us.
Okay.
The second thing we do is, we'll go through that. We have a team that will evaluate that, those applications. Then we'll invite people. We've been asking people to fill out an online questionnaire to get more details from them. We then conduct a Zoom interview, and generally I do that. We then invite people in, and they go through a series of interviews. We want them to meet the other people in the team. For the graphic designers, we want to see your portfolio.
Yeah.
We want to see what you can do. For administrative people, we want to see examples of what you can do. If you tell us you know Excel, we want to see you be able to do things on Excel. We have some simple tests. We go through this process, then we'll pick somebody and we'll offer them the position.
Imagine, is John part of the interview process?
John is an essential part of the interview.
John, tell me what do you do with the interview process?
When we're good to hire people, what do you do?
When you start an interview, when you start the interview, I want to come in, meet us.
You give a tour, right?
I give a tour.
And then you sit down and talk to people.
Yes.
You ask them lots of questions.
Yes.
Yeah, and John tends to like everybody, likes people, but there's some people who say they're not right for us.
Right. I have to learn something to me that it's true to you. It's a little joke because I am a very nice guy.
Right. You are a nice guy.
I'm a very nice guy, and you won't.
And I'm not.
And you're not.
No, but you.
I'm trying not to.
And you don't have to have a background in working with people with different abilities.
Yeah.
So the person who runs our warehouse, that's our Lord of the Sock. We had one person who did that for 5 years. We got him. We're a small place. We didn't have a place really to promote him. So we helped him get a job elsewhere. But he had never worked with people with different abilities. You have to have a willingness to learn and buy into our culture. So if I come back on the hiring, you start recruiting, you let people know before you have an opening. Be very clear on what you need to fill the job. Culture matters more than skills.
Yes.
If we're hiring a graphic artist, you need to be able to have enough skills to do the job. But we don't have to have the world's greatest graphic artist.
Yeah.
We do need somebody who's going to believe in our mission, fit into our culture, be able to work with us, and thrive. And we can talk about, one of our pillars, we have 5 pillars for the business. One of them is make this a great place to work. So we spend a lot of energy on that. And
that's fantastic. So I'm gonna push the limits a little bit over here and generalize, but also sound a little bit controversial at the same time, just to really rip the Band-Aid here. So, your positions that you have are mainly warehousing, right? I would imagine in the line of work that you're in, most of your staff back of the house, right?
Right.
So I come from a position as an expert and for many years doing recruiting and doing positions like warehouse staff. And generally it is a minimum wage position. Fair? Relative minimum wage, a couple dollars more.
We pay
You're not making $100 an hour packing boxes. You're making minimum plus maybe $2 or $3.
We're paying a little more than minimum wage, but you're right.
But you're within that, what's the minimum wage you're out in New York?
Right now where we are, it's $16.
16. So let's call it between $16 and $19 an hour is going to be a warehouse staff in New York for any company. Fair?
Fair.
So what I find is anyone who's taking that job these are the complaints I get all the time. People show up stoned at work all the time. People don't show up at all because it is a minimum wage job, and they get enough people calling in sick all the time because they don't want to do a bullshit warehouse job, right? You have people that have a criminal background that tend to sign up for jobs that are like this. You have people that it's lower wage income America that applies for these positions.
Absolutely. If in fact you had lots of skills, you're not applying for that job. Absolutely.
Yes.
And over our
you
9 years, we have pulled from 3 labor pools. I'm getting exactly what you're saying. 3 labor pools for those jobs.
Yes.
People with different abilities, moms, because we schedule people in 4-hour shifts. You can work 8 hours, but we schedule people in 4-hour shifts.
Hold that one thought right there. You're going to give the solution to my problem. So the problems that how we started off this conversation was entrepreneurs are constantly struggling to find good people. And it's because for a position that's like that, especially there's many entrepreneurs that are in the warehousing business, just like yours, where they are now attracting the people that I listed. Okay, and they have these continuous problems of people not showing up. They don't care about work. It's a constant struggle of poor quality people. You have figured out how to take those same positions and you tapped into a new pool of people. And it doesn't seem like you have these problems that I would say everyone in the warehousing industry is complaining about. And that is where I'd like for you to share a little bit exactly what you were about to tell us.
Okay, so let's come back, right? We've seen the same thing. 3 labor pools that we pulled from, the moms, there's some dads in there because you can put the kid on the bus in the morning, pick them up in the afternoon. And then that last pool, the general laborers that are looking for, a minimum wage job. And we treat people well, we do staff lunches. It's a decent place to work. By far, the best labor pool are the people with different abilities. They want to be here. They're excited to be here. They're enthusiastic. They really care about the job. They never miss. Imagine this. There's one woman taking the bus. If the bus is late, she's calling us saying, I'm really sorry. I'm going to be 10 minutes late today. Right? And then they don't leave. We get them and they stay. Some people, we've been able to help them develop other skills and we've been able to place them in other jobs. But this gives us an advantage.
Mm-hmm. They show up sober to work. They show up happy to work. They show up to work. They appreciative of work because it also ties into what you said to me earlier is 1 in 5 people with disabilities are employed. So those people appreciate the work so much when they get it because no one else is hiring them. So they actually have that appreciation for you. And they don't, last thing they want to do is ruin an opportunity that was given to them.
And we're grateful and show that appreciation. And we celebrate. A lot of our folks, this is their first job. Yeah. So we have 2 ceremonies. When we hire them and introduce them to everybody, we give them their business cards. Now, you don't need a business card if you're working in a warehouse.
Yeah.
But this is a point of professionalism. Professionals get business cards. And these people love it. And then you know what they turn into? Salespeople.
Because Here's my card.
And then the other thing we do is first paycheck. Yes, we all get direct deposit, but the first paycheck is always a paper paycheck. And we bring everybody together and celebrate. Here's your first paycheck.
Oh, I love it.
And, it's part of the culture. It's part of what we do. But you just see the joy in our colleagues' faces.
Oh, yeah. I really cool. And other day, I pick one order.
Right.
I pick one order and a top bar. What discount they use? One of the customer.
Oh, they use one of our colleagues' discount code?
John Schneider.
John Schneider, right. Because everybody gets,
so cool.
You get a personalized discount code on your business card to be able to give out to people.
Oh, I love it. So you're seeing the discount codes of people that they're out at wherever, a grocery store, whenever they're out about, they're handing out those cards saying, come buy from me. I love it. I've never heard of a warehouse. I've never heard of a warehouse person that puts in so much effort to actually sell for the company that they work for. So I think that right there alone, I'm hoping that there's something that catches with this video, because I'm hoping I get a bunch of phone calls, or you get a bunch of phone calls saying, I'm getting rid of all my staff and I'm only hiring, people.
And then people, one of the, a lot of folks, well, I don't know what this would be. There's a lot of fear. And the fear, quite frankly, is born out of ignorance. And I'm not trying to be cruel to people.
But should be, yeah.
And one of the things you hear is, oh, but what about all the accommodations you have to make? And it's going to be expensive. Okay. Mm-hmm. First of all, 55%, in a study by a large consulting firm, 55% of people with a disability need nothing.
Mm.
The cost of the average cost of the accommodation for the other people is $300. Now, Kristen, you've been running a recruitment and a personnel agency. I'm a 66-year-old man. I've been managing people since I've been 19.
Yeah.
We make accommodations all the time.
All the time. If anything, these people that come in, normal walk of day people, no disability at all, they want more than. So you know what I'm saying? They want more than what they're, as far as accommodations, they want relocation, they want this, they want that, oh, you name it. And there's a huge wish list. They want all the money in the world, and then they don't perform, and they drive us.
And then, now think about this. Many of our folks, particularly the folks with autism, boy, they know their routine. And if we want to change a process, we have to be very intentional. We can't be willy-nilly about it. Mm-hmm. We have to be very intentional. And then we have to be very thoughtful in how do we communicate this. Some of our people are visual learners. Some they want to read. Some need the physical presentation. So we do that. I ask you, is that an accommodation, or does that make us a better business?
Makes you a better business for sure.
Right? It's so, but we hear things, somebody who knows us well runs a large distribution center, and I hear all the time, I can't find enough workers, and he's complaining about people all the time. So, well, let us help you. We'll come in and help you, because we do consulting for other businesses. Let us help you. Oh, yeah, but our situation is different. We have a lot of heavy equipment. Okay. John here, you cross the parking lot every day.
I do.
And it's been weeks since you've been hit by a car.
I never hit a week.
It's like, what are we talking about here?
Uh-huh.
And again, don't lower your standard.
Mm-hmm.
Be really clear on your standard, and you will just be open to hiring. This is, DEI has become a controversial term. Don't hire people to check boxes so that I can say I got, a cornucopia. I got enough of this and that.
Mm.
But you are better off as a business if you are open to having a diverse workforce, if you are open to recruiting, and if you find that you are not, if you look at your workforce and please, we're only hiring men, or we're only hiring women, or we only hire whites, or well, then you ought to look and say, maybe not intentionally, but what are we doing that's resulting in this and excluding people?
Yeah.
Because if you're excluding folks, you can no longer have the best possible work.
Yeah. You can't, you're not wrong there. What's that?
I will put in there a little bit. You're saying that I putting a perspective, like what I wanted to put pillars, like 5 pillars, make it quick fit to work.
Right, that's really important.
That's a fair point to us.
We can walk through that.
Yeah.
Right. That has 6 pieces.
Say that, Mark. Say that again.
Wait, make it a great place to work, and for us, that has 6 pieces. 1, offer people a mission worthy of their commitment.
Yeah.
Something bigger than ourselves, and it can't just be we're going to make money. Now, Chris, I know you want to make money. I want to make money. We like to live indoors.
Yeah, I love lobster rolls.
Right? He likes eating lobster rolls. We got to
Thank you.
pay for that. But you have to have something larger than ourselves. Two, make sure everybody knows why his or her job matters. There's no cog in the machinery. There's no make work jobs. You referred before to people showing up high. I used to start collecting a list of people for jobs for potheads. And a job for a pothead is one where you don't care what you do and your boss doesn't care either.
Mhm.
No, you have to, everybody has to know why his or her job matters and how it's connected to the mission. Three, put people in a position to succeed. Don't ask them to do what they can to. We don't ask John to do our finances.
No.
If Kenny, our lead packer, needs a chair, why don't we get him that chair? And we're a small business. We don't have endless resources. But put people in a position to succeed.
Mhm.
Pay people fairly.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you have to pay the most. But if you walk out that door, you want to believe, hey, I'm being paid what I would be paid up the road. If you walk out thinking, well, everybody else pays more. And that also works internally. You can't be looking at somebody saying, wait a second, I do more work than them, but they get paid more than me. Pay people fairly. I don't think people work harder for more money, but if you're not paid, if you think it's unfair, that's going to stick in your craw and affect your attitude and your work. 5, recognize what people do. If you work hard to prepare this podcast and somebody comes up and says, hey, I listened to that podcast, you did a great job. That makes you feel good.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it's as simple as just saying, thank you.
Yeah.
That made a difference. And then the last piece, stay the hell out of the way.
Yeah.
Let people do their jobs.
Yeah.
And we find if we do that, it works.
Right, exactly. And for me, that I use it all the time, guys. I'm being serious. I write my own business. I write my own company. I don't want to be so petty. I don't want to. You so lucky you have dance room. You have your own business. That is so petty because I do really good job.
You do a good job. It's pretty good, right? Good stuff.
Great job. How long? And you guys have been working together now 9 years, correct?
9 years.
Yeah.
What's the future for John's Crazy Socks?
Well, we want to grow. We want to reach more people. We
Is there
want
a target in mind? Is there your next milestone? Is there anything
Well,
there to share?
Three things. One, we're growing the direct-to-consumer business. The fastest growth we have is B2B business, custom socks, gift packages. We're introducing a new service, a kitting and assembly service, because we have a great workforce. So now we're working with other companies to assemble packages for them, put things together for them. And then we have a big growth opportunity in wholesale and to sell it to other retailers.
Love it.
The more people we reach, the more we get to carry out our mission of showing what people with different abilities can do. And what are we doing, John? What's our mission?
Spread happiness.
Spreading happiness.
Right. I love it. I love it. What a great way to kind of conclude there. That is fantastic. And I'm going to make sure that in the description below, there's going to be a link to your website, specific, so we can get you to support your business a little bit more. And we're going to do our best to getting this out there. I really think this was a very amazing, valuable piece, and I'm so excited to release it out there.
Well, thank you very much for having us on.
Thank you, Kristen.
And it won't be the last time. We're going to do a lot more of this.
This is great.
I'd love to have you again.
And if people want to reach us, what's the website?
I'm good at johnscrazysock.com.
And if we could help you with your business, if you're listening out there and you're thinking, wow, I'd like to figure out how to do this, reach out to us. We'll be glad to do it. Or check with CPG and they'll recruit and get great workers for you.
all the description for you. We're going to put everything right below for everyone watching this right now. They're going to be able to access everything to be able to reach you. I would be so honored to be able to help in any shape or form to do that. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mark. Okay. And guys, for amazing careers like Mark's and John's, please follow the channel to learn a lot more about these amazing stories. Thank you for watching, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, thanks for watching our content. Listen, if you're running a business and you're struggling to find staff, I want to introduce myself. My name is Christian Saab. I own CPG Recruitment, and I help companies across North America find the people that they need to find. Listen, a great business cannot be built unless you've got great people. You and I both understand that having the right people on your team is so important, and that's where I could come in and help you. So listen, I want you to shoot me a text message. Here's my direct cell phone. Have my number. Reach out to me. I'd love to hear your story and get to know what you're trying to accomplish, and that way maybe I can help you fix this problem.